Well, hello there, friends and family. So good to see you again. And you might see we're out and about again. We surely are. Because we're keeping up the theme for 2022. Get out, get her done, and get to being a little bit more healthy. Which as soon as I do this part of my day, which it's about midday, and we're 61 degrees right now, with a slight breeze out of the southwest. So, life is good. Surely is. But you might wonder what we're doing. Well, we're going to take a walk. And we're going to visit our neighbors, across the street. Because it's a good place to take a walk. It's a place where, I don't got to worry about tripping or falling. I can just walk, on the road. It's nice and level. And all of that. Enjoy this sunshine. Make a little bit of that there D3 naturally, you might say, which is important. If you're not getting out, you might want to consider taking you a supplement. Just saying. Look into that. Spend a few minutes looking into the advantages, if you would. I have way more than a few minutes, and it's a good thing. It's always a good thing, but considering the events here of late, it's even better. But we're going to take a walk and just enjoy the day, where there's no risk that we'll fall or stumble or do anything else, which has happened in the recent past. Yeah, when you get older, you got to be more careful about all those things. And sometimes I don't really consider all that. I guess we all, this time in our lives, sometimes still think we're, in our 20s or 30s. Or we'd like to believe we are. May not be true. So you might wonder where we're going. Where we're going is over to the cemetery, because it's got a nice little walkway around where we can wander around and walk, enjoy the sunshine, as you all can see, and everything. And that's what we're doing right now. And the wind's picking up, so hope y'all can hear me good. Won't know till I edit this, as always. And I do hope the video's clear and crisp. We're on the backup camera. The new GoPro is supposed to arrive by 9 p.m. tomorrow, on Friday. And this is January the 13th. A lot of people put some store into the 13th, an unlucky number. Well, any day can be an unlucky number. Surely it can. All depends on what happened that day. Woo! Wind picked up good there. So anyway, hope this finds y'all safe, well, and happy with your friends, family, and loved ones too. Hello, how are y'all?
Are you vlogging or something?
Yep.
That's cool.
You want to be on vlog on YouTube?
Sure, why not?
Okay. We got some friends here.
Hello.
Hello. How y'all today?
Good. We're just walking.
So what's your names?
Trina. We're your neighbors.
Are you? Where do you live?
She lives beside you, and then I live.
Oh, you live on the same street I do, don't you?
And then I live in that house with the big truck.
You do? Big truck? You see my kitties?
Yeah. The two little black ones, whenever they were kittens, we raised them. They came from our house.
Yep, they're sort of community cats.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I take care of them and take care of their needs.
We got one of them spayed last week.
Did you?
Yeah.
Must be another one that's not up at my house, because they're all taken care of now. So, y'all are out from school?
Yes, sir.
I'm virtual.
You virtual?
Yes, sir.
Must go to Tallapoosa County Schools.
Yeah, Rotel.
You go to Tallahassee or
Tallahassee. I'm homebound right now.
are you? Well, everything going good for y'all?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's so nice to see you.
You too.
Okay, and now you're famous. You're on YouTube.
Have a nice afternoon.
You too, ladies. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's your YouTube channel?
It's called Deep South Bama with Mr. Tom. You can look it up. Because you just had 18,000 people watching you.
18.
Well, I wasn't expecting that, and that's pretty special. In my mind, just two young ladies out here enjoying the sunshine too, for a walk in amongst my neighbors. And a lot of people, you know, they say it's creepy, it'll be scary, you know, it's gruesome to live near beside a cemetery. Well, I've never found that to be the case. Now, when I came to Tallahassee, and the only reason I wound up where I was, or am, is, in all truth, that was the only house available to rent, buy, or what have you, when I need to do that. And I was living in a hotel in Montgomery, Alabama, something nearly 28 miles away. And I think it was an Embassy Suites, if I remember right. But I need to get out of there. The company was tired of paying for it. And found this place shortly right after Mrs. Carlisle had passed. Her husband had passed years before. And she passed, and when I looked at the house, they were actually having an estate sale. Which originally, I just rented it for a few years. And then I did, went ahead and decided to buy it. And the owner financed it, which was great, gave me a good interest rate. Didn't have to worry about the banks or nothing, which wouldn't have been a problem. And then, you know, over the years, paid it off. But shortly after I moved in, some people would stop by and go, you know, did you buy or what have you? And I really wouldn't answer that, but they said, you know, the place is haunted. And I said, really? Well, as long as they don't bother me, I won't bother them. Others, I can't believe you want to live beside the cemetery. Well, I would joke and say, well, you know, so far they've been really good neighbors. And they only come out to party once a year on Halloween, which has been the case. Other than that, they're pretty quiet. But, you know, I mentioned this in the last video. I've seen the occurrence here that, you know, used to be rare. You know, once a month, twice a month, you know. But over the last 3 years, sometimes it's gotten to be an everyday thing. And that is new neighbors. In fact, yesterday, we had some more. As you can see right here, still quite evident that someone, you know, this was a person. Oh my. Sarah Ann Thompson. Her husband was Billy William M. Gives the birth dates. Sarah Ann, September the 4th, 1935. Think about that. Born during the height of the Great Depression. Yep. That's sad. Husband must have passed before. They don't give the actual date when they passed. But this is the newer section of the cemetery. In fact, when I moved here, now it's going to be going on 27 years, this was just a grassy hayfield. There wasn't a soul residing here at the time. And here we have another one that's recently become a neighbor. Fred R. Coleman. He passed last year, August 29th, 2021. Nicknamed Big Rick. Yep. His wife passed on June the 30th, 2009. And this ain't about sadness and that. It's about reality. You know, we don't all know the time or the day or even the minute that we too shall pass and be with our Father. And it is said and written that only they will know the time. Here's Kimberly Ann Grant. A lot of places where no grass is growing because they're too new for the grass to come up. Like I say, that's been all too long and all too often occurrence these days. And I know many of these names. I know the people they were, their families. See, that's the way small towns are. You know them. You used to talk to them. And that's one of the things about us getting older that we just can't evade or hide from. We will lose people in our lives. Some of us, I know from reading the comments, have lost their spouses, both husbands and wives, sisters, brothers, and younger children. You know what they say, no parent should outlive their child. And I would definitely say that's got to be the most horrible thing a person can go through. To watch your child pass. And I know many won't like this video, but that's okay. It's about reality. See, just like right here. The Sawyers. Bobby H. passed in 2020. And now it looks like Dorothy, his wife, has recently passed as well. Bobby was born in 1930. A year after the Great Depression started. Dorothy, 4 years later. They seen hard times. They surely did. a hell of a lot harder than social media and even mainstream media wants to portray the current situation of America and the world today. Oh, that's cute. Look at that. An old truck, or a model of one, up on the headstone. Poinsettias there. Look at that. Thankfully, they got it fastened to the tombstone. That is really cool. I don't care what anybody says. And there's a picture of them. There's James and Margie. James passed in 2008. His beloved wife Margie passed in 2018. But you can tell by just looking at this. And that's probably their children, I would have to guess. Loved them dearly and miss them more. And there'll be come a day when old Mr. Tom will be over here and become a resident. Of course, won't be too far from home, will I? There's another one of them trucks right over here. Never have paid any attention or seen that before. Of course, yesterday, if you watched my last video, you'll come to understand I got a new neighbor yesterday. Beautiful arrangements of flowers. The headstone has yet to be engraved. But I'm sort of thinking it's going to be a spivey. Yep. Now I don't know about you, but I do my darndest to not walk across graves. The only reason I'm doing this video is because I'm out here getting some exercise. Several people have asked, couldn't I do a tour of the cemetery? And I thought about that long and hard. I thought, well, maybe that's creepy. And Lord knows, the last few videos, I've lost a pile of subscribers. Not that I really give a darn, you know, because I don't. I was talking to another creator last night as they drove home, and again today, because he gets all concerned about that. It bothers him. Well, it used to bother me. But then, back then, Trixie, and now Gracie console me and go, you know, Papa, are you doing it for the viewers? Or are you doing it for yourself, James, Ashley, and Davy? Yeah, it's a good thing they remind me of that. Because in fact, even I need to be reminded, well, I decided to make my life public. Wasn't about views and clicks. It was about documenting what I did, when I did it. Sometimes nothing special, like today. And sharing it on YouTube originally for just my kids and my grandson and close friends and family. And now it's become 18,400 and some odd of all of y'all too. Which just amazes me that that's happened. But when I moved in, this section was already quite populated. Yep. When my house was built back in the 40s, most of this here was yet to be populated. Because I've looked at old aerial photography from back in 1940 on up through the years. And you can see how over time this cemetery, which is one of two here in my small town, has grown. But this, like I say, shouldn't be a depressing video. Like I say, it's a fact of life. It's reality. And there are times in the past when things have been getting me really down, worried, you know, money, children's health, mine. I do walk. And I read the stones. And I think about how hard many of these neighbors had it. Much harder during their lifetime. Oh yeah. And we're about to go over to the area where it all began. It's up under these old cedars right here, which I know for a fact they're over 80 years old, because that same stand of cedars shows up in the first aerial photography over this area in 1940. It surely does. And this is where you'll find the oldest graves, some of which have become so eroded and faded you can't tell the dates anymore, and some, I would think, predate the Civil War. There's one there from 1840. That was before the Civil War, when Eugenia was born, to 1923. Think about that. And here it says, Ashurst, he was in Company F, 34th Alabama Infantry, Confederate States Army. January the 15th, 1841, December 26, 1912. I want you to think about that. Yep. But there's many more over here, and this ain't about the politics or beliefs of the Civil War. And there's a stone that's been broke. And I hate to see that, because that gets back to that, what's that one word? Respect. You see that far too often. You know, cemeteries used to be hollow ground. They garnered the same respect and that places like Arlington do. You know, I've been to Arlington a few times. I mean, yeah, I don't know how you desecrate that place. But then why would you desecrate this one? You know, I often wonder what's in the minds of people that do. I'm on cedar trees. These are red cedars. Extremely slow growing. Like this one here is about 3 feet across. I don't know how old it is. It's probably ancient. But here were some of the first graves. Of course, it sort of look that way, don't they? The names no longer remain. The stories have been forgotten. But at one time, these people, probably even way before this was a town or a community, and they were here. And you can see a lot of stones out here stuck in the ground. Native stones marking graves. No names. Past time have erased them away. They were probably poor folk. Like me and y'all. And they couldn't afford all those fancy headstones. Now I will say this. People come back. You know, children, grandchildren. And if they're a little more affluent, you know, they'll put a headstone down. But those who can't, the little stones remain. And I'm sure right now, this blank area, there's probably folks there. They're just not marked. Who knows? But to me, this neighborhood, the final resting place on earth, and I truly believe this is where your remains go. Your soul ain't here. Nope. Upon passing, good or bad, or what your final fate will be, your soul ain't here. Just that of your earthly body is. That's my belief. Maybe yours is different. I don't know. And it don't matter. Not going to change the way I feel. But I think you can see or hear right now, other than the sound of the wind, it is fairly peaceful. And that's why I come here, for the peace and tranquility. And every once in a while, I'll see some writing on the stone that makes me think about, you know, what kind of life they had, how they lived. And I'll go in, fire up the old computer and command center, and I'll look up that year, see what the year they passed. This is an unusual grave. Been all bricked up into a long pyramid. Been here all the time I've been here, and probably a long, long time. That's solid. That is solid brick. That ain't modern brick, got holes in it. That's a real deal. Surely is. So, we get some fresh air, we get some vitamin D3, we get our exercise, you don't get our steps in. I don't count them. And I'm not going to buy me one of them Fitbits or step monitors, none of that crazy crap. I'm going to go out at least daily, whether it's circle the house and that, or what have you, pick up sticks. No, There's some of those wild garlic chives growing. They only come out starting in fall through the winter, and then come spring and summer, they'll fade away. No, we enjoy the walk, the crunch of the leaves. With no fear. I'm getting still now. As the sun starts to get low, yeah, that's something about videos. Y'all see 10, 20, 30. You know, mine tend to run long. People don't like them, you know, the younger crowd. You know, I get accused of talking too slow. You know, nobody comments like, for God's sakes, man, talk faster. Or, you know, you could have said all that in 3 minutes. Those people, they must be super important. You know, CEOs, high-powered people. You would think. Probably not. I see my panthers are out and about in the yard. Speedy, she's waiting on me there, front yard. Spooky or Cleo or somebody's out there just off of the bamboo forest. No, that's Mr. Gray. Hey, Mr. Gray, where are you going? He's not real sociable. And the kitty crew ain't too big on him, to include Magoo. Which Magoo's pretty much now been accepted into the kitty crew. In fact, I got several panthers up here. Spooky, is that you? Is that you, Spook? And Speedy's up there in the bamboo forest? What are y'all up to? Don't tell me. You're trying to get birdies. I just fed you when I left. Well, cats will be cats. Let's see if they got anything left. Oh yeah, got a little. Not a lot. Well, I'm gonna get me a little water. We'll sit down on the front porch and chat. Well, as you can see, we're back on the front porch, where every journey, long or short, begins and ends. Yeah. Still enjoying some of that natural sunshine. With my kitty crew, who two of them, Spooky and Speedy, are laying at my feet. Cleo is partaking of some more kitten caboodle. And there's my other two. Speedy, right there. Spooky over there. With his mousy. Now, I don't know if you can see him, but laying there beside the foundation of the house in the blueberries, and that's Mr. Gray. You have to look close. He blends in real well. So I hope you enjoyed a little walk today through my neighbor's domicile over there in the cemetery. But, you know, as we were walking, before we came upon the two young ladies that we shared with all of you as well, made them stars on YouTube. They were quite tickled. Yep. I was telling you about the house. And the fact that, you know, people would come by and say it was haunted and all. Now, I think part of that was because both the previous owners had actually passed right here in the house. And that. So that sort of spawns that kind of talk. But over the now going on 27 years that I've lived here, there have been a few strange occurrences that at times have been a little disconcerting, or I guess we'd say strange. I mean, I can remember when the kids and the wife was here and everybody, the front door and the back door, on occasion, would be open the next morning. Even though either I or the wife would swear we closed them and locked them. Of course, you know, if you don't pull on them, they could have been, you know, closed and locked, but not totally engaged. I don't know. With every time that would happen, for as long as we'd remember and think about it, we'd always pull on them. That didn't mean still might not wake up one morning and the door would be slightly ajar. And we've had doors open and close. You know, we knew we closed like the bedroom door. And then, you know, be in the kitchen, dining room, maybe the den. And we come back in. Bedroom door, the bathroom door, or another bedroom door be open. Who knows? Air currents. I don't know. But two of the most strangest occurrences that have happened multiple times here at the house, and this used to freak out the wife, there were at least 4 occasions that I can remember where she adamantly swore she was having a conversation with me, she thought, with me being in another room. You know how you do. The house ain't all that big. So if you're in the kitchen and I'd be in the den, me and her could still have a conversation. Or she'd be in the kitchen dining room and I'd be in the living room. And then the wife was bad to go in the bathroom to do whatever business she had and like to have a conversation through the closed door. I think that's a woman thing. When I go in the bathroom, I have a certain reason, and it ain't to have a discussion. No. But she would swear she was having a talk with, like I say, who she thought was me, and then she'd leave whatever room she was in and go to find me. Of course, I wouldn't be there. I'd be outside, or, you know, I'd went to town or something. And that freaked her out. And as it happened a few more times, it freaked her out more and more, hence why she was looking for a new house, which I couldn't see the reason for it. Especially by the time she really wanted a new house. The kids were going to be moving out a year later. They were, you know, scheduled to go in the military, and it'd just be me and her. This 3-bedroom, 1-bath house with a den, living room, and dining room, most of which I don't use anymore. It'd be more than enough room for 2 little old people. But the other thing that's happened, which I have experienced, and that, which is rather strange, is there have been times, you know, I'll fall asleep on the couch or even in bed. And then I'll awaken and there'll be this sweet smell, very sweet smell of perfume, ladies' perfume. Similar to what the scents were that I can remember from my grandmother and my great-grandmother. You know, tastes change, you know, as far as scents. And back then they used to be a lot of sweeter and more aromatic, may I say. And that's what it reminded me of. And that was always strange. It's happened more than a dozen times. And no, there wouldn't be a woman in the house. Wouldn't be a bottle of perfume or none of that. And Lord knows the 2 colognes I use don't smell nothing like what I smell. So I always thought that was strange. Not sure how that happens. I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments below. So yeah, it's an old house. Built right here, and you know, probably what was, you know, the grounds, whether they were hunting grounds or agricultural grounds for Native Americans. So you never know who may be visiting old Miss Tom when the lights turn low and dim and all the the sounds of the night become silent. You just never know. Now, I don't know whether you believe in those things, but you know, it could be angels. Could be those from the past just wanting to stop in and say hi. It's never really freaked me out. It's just made me wonder why. You know, and then, you know, walking through the cemetery and that, it's not about being creepy. It's about being respectful. And that, and it is has gotten a whole lot more populated over the last 3 years. Way more than ever before. And to me, that's a sad thing. Maybe it's just, you know, those of us baby boomers, we're getting on up there. I mean, there becomes a point in time when we'll just fade away. Hence why I started a YouTube channel. So maybe in future perpetuality, you know, the youngins can come back, whether they're mine or others, and go, yep, that's how those old folk used to live back in the day. Because everybody's back in the day changes, depending on your age. My back in the day is from the early 50s on. My parents from the early 30s on. Grandparents and great-grands further back. So back in the day changes, and therefore your perspective of it. And life has changed. My back in the day was nothing as hard or rigorous as my grandparents and my great-grands, or their parents. And I'm hoping for my children, my grandson, things are better for them than they were for even me. That's my hope, my prayer. I've done all I can do to ensure it as an engineer. I surely have. And I'm rather proud of what I accomplished as an engineer. I didn't get rich and wealthy, but I'd like to think I made a difference. And when it all comes down to life, you need to look back and say, have I made a difference? And it only has to be in one life. It don't got to be in the whole world, all across the globe, or a civilization. But make it better for all you can. So me and the kitty crew, Speedy, Spooky, and Cleo, and Mr. Gray over there, who wants to come up and have some more kick and caboodle too. And sometime Magoo and Elrod, and little Gracie, which I'm sure is sitting on the ottoman in front of the TV, making sure all's well in the world. See y'all on the next video. Y'all take care. Stay safe. And God bless you as you bless others. Goodbye for now. Cleo, you my baby. You my queen. You are. You my queen. Papa love you. Sitting right there in front of me. Make sure nobody gets near Papa, huh? You are a curmudgeon. Yes, you are. Papa loves you, though. Later, all.